Hey guys, welcome back to the dungeon. Pugz here. I just want to take a couple minutes out of my day and answer a couple questions that people had from the last couple sets of videos. I'm going to kind of maybe start doing another segment on the show here where essentially we'll do like a question and answer from everybody on YouTube and Facebook, and I don't have a Twitter or Instagram set up at this point. But I'd like to get some questions and answer them once a week. So I think that's something we're going to do. So in that case, I think we'll do something, along the lines of, topics related to reloading, dungeon reloading, about me personally or how I do something, as well as, any like new topics that are coming out that, like the 350 Legend from Winchester. That's a new thing coming out, so we can talk about stuff like that as long as it's appropriate to the channel. I'd be more than happy to bring it up and discuss it here. So if we'll put some links and stuff down into the description of the group so that you can go ahead and leave your questions there. Going forward, we'll answer them from there. Facebook, you'll see all the links there. So this week I'm going to start off with kind of like an introduction about me, dungeon reloading, who I am, what dungeon is, where we come from, how it works. Just to give you guys a little history and a little bit of background, because I have gotten a few questions like, who are you? That's a very valid question. I'm actually not even upset by it. I never really thought to do a video like this. So I guess we can start at the beginning. My name is Michael Pugsley. It's not my real name, but my first name is Michael and my nickname is Pugsley, so Michael Pugsley. But everybody calls me Pugz. They have for many, many years. I've been reloading now since November of 1996. So that would make it here, at the end of this year, it'll be 23 years. I've been doing this a long time. So a little bit about I started reloading the 30-06 caliber pretty much out of necessity. Growing up, my family didn't have a lot of money. We were lucky to pay the bills, put food on the table, and put gas in the car. And there just wasn't much left for, ammunition or firearms or anything like that. So at some point along the lines, I inherited my grandmother's hunting rifle, a J.C. Higgins Model 50 30-06. And that was the hunting rifle that I used. Just told, hey, maybe one day you'll reload, save your brass. Luckily, I did, because in the last 23 years, there's been some prices of ammo have gone up and shortages of ammo. So it was really, honestly, a good thing that I did something like that, because in the end, it is actually what got me started. How did I get to reloading? A family had moved in down the road from my house. My wife had a couple kids, and they rode our school bus. Now, I'm from the middle of nowhere, northeastern Pennsylvania. There is literally like the closest kid neighbor was like 2 miles away, which happened to be the family that moved in. And I got really close with all of those guys. And the father, his name was Benjamin Thomas. He was a retired Navy veteran. He just retired back in 96, 95, 96, somewhere in there. And he was moving, back home. He was from the area. He liked to shoot a lot. His kids liked to shoot a lot, and I got in with that. But the problem was I couldn't shoot a lot. I didn't have the money. My family didn't have the money. So we went ahead and one day kind of pulled me aside and said, hey, I'd like to teach you to reload. Somewhere amongst the many years, he ended up getting the nickname Pops from me. Big influential guy in my life. He taught me a lot of things in life. Pretty much was my dad growing up, because I'm very appreciative of that. And to this day, we have a very good relationship. He told me back then that I'm going to give you a list of stuff. I want you to go buy them, and we'll go ahead and sit down and make some ammunition. And back then, I didn't know what that meant. Sounded great, but the list he gave me was like dyes and projectiles and powder. What else? Primers, stuff that I had no idea about. And when you live in the middle of nowhere, it's really hard to get somewhere to buy something, let alone there's no place to work to make money. I mean, back then I was only like 10 years old, 11 years old. So I was working odd-end jobs, picking up pennies, scrapping aluminum cans, getting a couple bags, doing anything I could to be able to get to do this reloading thing that he was talking about. And honestly, it took almost a year to get all the money up to buy the stuff, and we couldn't buy it locally. We had to buy it online. That was a whole long endeavor, but it finally paid off, because right before hunting season that year in '96, we went and sat down, and he spent about 3 hours with me. We put all the brass that we had saved in an old blue Midway tumbler, and it was filled with crushed walnut, and he ran it for hours. Meanwhile, while that was running in another room, he was showing me what a press was, what dies were, what a scale was, what grains were, how to measure them, what we were going to be using, how to use a reloading book, like 3 hours. In the end, it really kind of came down to, I had to learn patience. I had to make sure I learned to not rush and double check everything. And, being a 10, 11-year-old person at the time, that's not really easy to do for most kids. So, I kind of struggled with that. And after everything was said and done, I had my first reloading session. So after that first reloading session, it just kind of was fireworks. It was something that was so amazing to me that it drew my attention. And at a young age, in the middle of, literally living in the middle of nowhere, I used to hike a lot. I used to go fishing a lot, ride my bikes a lot, but there wasn't a lot of kids. There wasn't a lot of people. But I had found something that adults had been doing and were doing, and were having an awesome time doing that. And I was making something, probably one of the first things I ever made that it meant something to me, something of value. And it started with, like I said, some 30-06 hand loads. From there, the fireworks and the addiction started and spread. I mean, I ended up sitting there for hours upon end, helping him reload all of his calibers. A myriad of calibers at this point. And, what was interesting was, it was almost instantly, ammo started to become scarce. It was really hard to find ammo, at least in our stores. And, due to some sort of political thing going on, which I didn't understand back then, there was probably the first ammo shortage of my life. And, we couldn't buy factory ammo. It wasn't a big thing for us initially, because I couldn't afford it, but even if we wanted to, we couldn't find it. So luckily I had picked up how to reload, and we really didn't miss a beat. We were able to buy the components online, get them shipped in, and it's not as easy as it was today, but sometimes you had to call them and talk with them, like Midway, Cabela's. They were some of the first couple that I remember having to get on the phone with. And then of course I didn't have a credit card back then, so had to use Pops's credit card, or use my mom's credit card or somebody. And again, had to go work for the money because it just wasn't there. So right, again, a little bit longer, we started to notice a couple things, some ammo came back, but a lot of the local gun shops stopped carrying reloading components. Not really sure what happened there, but we had a little bit of a stash. We were able to keep going for a while, but just slowly but surely that started to go. Components, trying to find basic components, bullets, projectiles, powder, don't really know. It just started to go. And I remember, talking about reloading with a couple friends back then, and then all of a sudden there was just no interest there. People didn't really care what I was doing, or they weren't shooting as much anymore. They were starting to grow up some. And it just became noticeable that less and less people were reloading or talking about reloading in my circle. So that was kind of a little bit of a downer. I loved it, addicted to it. My friends were less addicted to it. I don't know what it was. Maybe they just didn't have time to do it anymore. Maybe they were doing other things. Maybe the art of reloading was dying. I remember Pops telling me at one point, saying, hey, if you feel that way, maybe you should try to find somebody and teach them. It's not something you teach overnight. It's not something you teach in one session, but you have this down. I trust everything that you do. I trust that you know what you're doing and how to teach safety firearm safety, reloading safety to everybody, and that happened. And I went out and was at that time doing. I was going to a lot of the local shoots. Probably about I'm at this point, I guess I'm probably like in my 20s, early 20s. I'm going to like some USPSA shoots, some steel challenges, some IDPA. And Pops had said, why don't you go ahead and take a press and some components out there, set up a little stand or something in the back of a truck and demonstrate how to make reloads. Look what kind of gun they've got, make a reload, do your thing, and, go ahead and let them shoot it out of your guns. We go ahead and show them that, like, you just made that right there. See how cool that would be. And, maybe that would generate some interest. So I thought about it for a little while, and I was at that point traveling a little bit for work. I was playing paintball. I was dating my now then wife, who's my wife now. So like a lot of stuff was happening. So I didn't really get a chance to do any of that. Fast forward now to probably about 2015. 2015, what a year. So I'd say right around the beginning of January 2015 is when things started to, I wanted to reload more, and I really had this burning desire to, really see if what Pops was saying was a big deal. Like, are people no longer reloading? Is this not a thing? I made a move from Pennsylvania to Maryland about this point. And was a little bit before that, but I've been traveling a lot for work, and being able to, get as much time every day to reload, it wasn't really all that well. I was just busy all the time, but I started thinking, well, maybe I could do some of this electronically. Whenever I needed to look something up, I would go to some of the old message boards, bulletin boards, and YouTube occasionally would have an okay video to look at. Now, I'm a systems engineer and a project manager for my 9-to-5 job. So the IT world, computers, and internet, they come very naturally to me. I don't really have much of an issue if I need to define something or know how to do something. I try to go out and find it. And then if it's in such a way that even I struggle to find it, I try to find ways to simplify it so I can teach other people. So at this point, I spent a bunch of time to get some ideas together, looking at, some YouTube videos, some social media, some new forums. Problem was I wasn't really seeing anything that I liked. I joined probably the largest reloading group on Facebook at the time, which was Reloading Central. And there was at that time like 35,000 people in it. So I was like, well, that's pretty good, 35,000 people. But I wasn't really learning anything in there. People would post up a lot of stuff for sale. People would post up, a lot of problems that they were having, but there was nothing really to get your attention. So I was struggling with that. And around this time, a friend of mine who had been playing paintball with or against for quite a few years, a guy by the name of Vin Din, reached out to me, and he was talking to me about purchasing some AR-15s from a mutual friend of ours. The prices were not in line with what he was picking up, and I had happened to think about it when I was on the phone with him. Actually, sitting right here, I was talking with him on my phone, and I had said to him, I was like, "Hey, well, if you shoot guns, are you interested in reloading at all?" And he took a pause on the phone and was like, "Reloading? What's that?" And I was like, there was some opportunity knocking there that led me to have multiple discussions with him and explain to him, listen, if you want to go ahead and understand or learn about it, come on over, come hang out. We'll go ahead and talk about it. We'll make some, we'll go shoot them. It'll be fun. Right. So, I make the offer, didn't really hear anything for a little while. And then all of a sudden one day I get a phone call, says, "Hey, you know what? Let's do that whole reloading thing you were talking about. I'd like to do it. It kind of intrigued me, and I don't know anybody else that does it." So Vin comes down. We what do you call it? He comes down, and it's weird because not too many people. We're adults. Not too many people come over the house, let alone come into my basement. That's where we do most of the reloading at this point. And he came down, and it was different. Like, when Pops had taught me back, in the mid to late 90s, there was a different thing about it. Like, I mean, I was a child. I guess I sat there and I shut up and listened and took everything in. Adults aren't always that way. It was a little difficult at first, and I was cool with that, but it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. Knowing the material is one thing, but explaining the material in which somebody gets it, somebody understands it, embraces it, now that's another thing. And that's one thing I learned from this experience right off the bat, that we needed to go ahead and find a way to do that. And if it was like that for one person, maybe there's other people out there, and maybe that was one of the reasons why people were kind of shying away from reloading. Maybe they were just afraid, or maybe they just didn't understand. So Vince started coming down to my house. He ended up spending a lot of time here, and we were sitting here in the basement one day, and he looks at me and asks me what time it was. And I'm like, I don't know. Do you have a watch? Do you have a smartphone? What? And he was like, well, it's crazy because, I look at the time and I just can't believe that this much time has gone by. And he's like, okay, all right. I'm not really sure what you're saying. He starts laughing and he goes, it's like a damn dungeon down here. Like, there's no lights, like no windows. And we're down here all ends of the night, all hours of the day. And it's like we're slaving for a living in a basement, and we can't tell what's going on outside in the world. Well, at that point, he was sitting Indian style, and he was depriming brass with a hand deprimer. And like, we both look at each other, and like almost at the same time, we both go, yo, this is dungeon reloading. Like, it clicked. It just made sense. And, the club started with him and I. And, as time has gone on, we've had a lot, there's a lot of people involved now. I mean, my wife comes down here with me, and she'll help me, she'll reload. I mean, she's videotaping this right now for us. I've got some friends that either I played paintball with, or were friends of friends I played paintball with. A buddy of mine named Scott comes down here with us. He's an excellent shooter, shoots Glocks and shotguns. My buddy Smitty, played paintball with him on several paintball teams. He comes down and spends hours on end in here. Another one of my friends, Zach is just crazy. He's on or off something. He'll either be all into something for a little while, and then he has to take a break from it, and he comes back full force. It's kind of cool, but I've been able to sit down with each of them, and they're at all different levels of reloading, but they're all learning, and they all are learning to ask the right questions, or maybe I'm getting better in explaining to them, hey, I know you, this is how I can relate the information to you. So it's kind of a little bit of a history about me, and kind of how Dungeon Reloading got its name. And it's kind of iconic now. We have a logo, as you can see from the page. A lot of people recognize it. When I go out to gun shows, we wear the t-shirts, or I travel the country for paintball throughout the year. It's humbling, actually, and it's funny how it all started right here in the basement. And I'm not set up to be a commercial shop. We do reload quite a bit of rounds here in the basement for the entire lot of us. And like I had said before, I mean, there's probably about 18 members of the Dungeon Reloading Club. And if you factor that plus, their significant others and family, we're reloading for between 30 and 40 people out of this basement. And it's really cool. Some of them have their own setups now. Some of them still call me ahead of time. Hey, Pugz, I'm coming over. We're going to do this. It's like, hey, man, whatever you want to do. That's what it's here for. So for the last 3 years, I've started to build a little bit of an online presence. I was welcomed into probably the second largest reloading group on Facebook called Red Eye Reloading. It's owned by a guy by the name of Nick DeVrados. I've worked with him the last 3 years and have spent many a time, helping him, working with him, promoting him, and doing quite a bit of, reloading, sharing of knowledge for not just our little group, but everybody in the Red Eye group. You guys have seen some of the shirts that I've worn. The shirt from the equipment video we did was one of the Red Eye admin shirts that we had, and it's an honor. I mean, there's some really smart and intelligent guys in that group, and there's a lot of new people coming in that group every day, and I absolutely enjoy talking with them and helping them and pointing them in the right direction. And Nick's got some amazing sales. I mean, he's got a website. He just started this Red Eye Education Services group. It was an idea him and I had, and we sat down, and the idea portion of it came from me and Pops. Like I told you before, Pops had said, why don't I go teach somebody? Well, how do you go teach somebody to reload, but get people to say, hey, you're worth somebody to talk to, you're certified in some capacity to teach? So spent the last year or so looking that up, trying to figure out what can we do to go ahead and get that done. And Nick and I sat down and we figured it out. We've gotten our NRA metallic reloading certification, so we can teach it as an instructor. That's awesome. There's not many of those around. And this year, I've dedicated pretty much a lot of my extracurricular time to getting more NRA instructor ratings, whether it be for the NRA instructor rifle, instructor pistol, home defense, shot shell reloading. I mean, I'm going to try to hit them all so that I can help better teach people about these trades that I thought at one point were going away, that there just was no love for the art of reloading and shooting anymore. So after getting my certification here for the metallic reloading and starting up this Red Eye Education Services, everybody kind of got together and was talking to me about, so what do we call you now? Do we call you certified reloader, Pugz, or, master Pugz, or what? So some guys looked up some words and they came up with, Pugz, by definition, you're pretty much a master in this. And I'm like, a master? I don't know everything. I absolutely will never claim to know everything. So I don't really know if that makes me a master, an expert. I don't know, but I feel like master is a good term. Like, I'm a master reloader, and I love sharing this information with everybody and getting people to understand, some things don't always seem as they are, or, even that, you might have some technical information about something and you're trying to read it and just don't make sense of it. I like to try to find ways to help make sense of that, make it simpler for people. Usually that entails me trying to find some videos or some links or a tutorial or something like that, so that either I can learn it or I can try it or I can explain it to somebody. But I continued to run into this issue where my interest wasn't being kept. Videos were not very interesting. The cameras, the angles, the audio, they just weren't there. I didn't like that. So I thought maybe we can do something about that. And I talked with some of the guys, I talked with the wife, and they said, well, you're a friendly guy. Why don't you go ahead and make some videos and see if people will like them? Here we are, Dungeon Reloading. We have a YouTube channel now, and we've now come full circle. And the whole point of this, like the whole meaning of Dungeon Reloading, is that we're a group of people passionate about the art and hobby of reloading. In this group, we load 40 plus calibers for a total of 30 plus people, all family related. We have the rifles, the firearms, whatever they are here. We measure the chambers, the specs. We develop loads based per firearm. It's an awesome experience, and I'm hoping to be able to share all of this more with you as we continue to go on this. This group does not claim to know everything. I do not claim to know everything. We actually strive every day to learn something new, so that when it comes to somebody who has that question, we can provide them an answer or help them or point them in the right direction for them to go ahead and get that question answered for them. Our real goal here is to be able to, have people in this club go ahead and, provide upbeat, interesting, factual, informational videos or content that the average reloader needs to see where the content doesn't exist yet. That's what's driven me to this. That's why I'm here. It's about that different perspective, or maybe it's the right perspective. I'm not really sure. As we go along, we learn to grow, and we continue to bring you more videos and content. I think we're going to learn that together. Dungeon Reloading has partnered with Nick DeVrados and the Red Eye Reloading Group and Red Eye Educational Services. So you'll probably be seeing promos from them. You'll see appearances from them. There'll be information from them. So stay tuned for that. We'll have links for all that. When you check out, maybe we'll get you some coupon codes, whatever the case may be. We love to run promos. We want to keep the reloader reloading, whether it be informational or product at a good price. And as time goes on, we'll do that. I've had a few groups actually donate some product or equipment that they would like me to go ahead and load and test up and actually do a video on. And I'll bring those guys up when we talk about them in the future, because I think we just got some in the mail today, and I'm looking very forward to providing you guys more content. So Dungeon Reloading and Red Eye and everybody else we bring in here, there's a big partnership. We try to keep this family oriented. The reloading community is a big family to us. We like to be a part of it as much as we like to bring new people into it. And finally, these YouTube videos, like I said, I just want to provide some information about reloading, reloading philosophies, reloading techniques, in a friendly, upbeat, energetic type way. We have the ability to help provide this information to all walks of life, and to keep their interest and allow them to retain that information. Maybe you'll catch a laugh in the video. If you don't remember the Ducky incident, a lot of people like that. It came out of nowhere. I'm glad you guys like that. So we're going to go ahead and, put an end to this video. I like to do more of these videos, like question and answer videos. I'm going to provide you some links so that you can communicate with us, and we can answer your questions or get you information or point you in the right direction. So before we do that, I'm going to announce a couple things. First, I'm going to do a couple giveaways here from the channel. When our YouTube channel hits 500 likes and our Facebook page hits 500 likes, I'm going to give away, I'm going to do a giveaway for two people. And I'm not sure what that is yet, but I'm sure if you're a reloader watching this, or even if you're not, in the next couple weeks, I'll go ahead and put some stuff together. I've had some people offer some stuff, so let's go ahead, and if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe. Nothing's being monetized. I'm not looking for any money. I'm just looking for people to be interested. And I want people, I was just telling the wife earlier today, if at each video I put out there, somebody learns something, just one person, then that's good enough for us. That's what we're here to do. So make sure you give each of our videos a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go over to Facebook. I think our group page is at Dungeon Reloading or Dungeon Reloading. Search for it. You'll find it. Give that page a like. It's only going to help build and hope to go big from here. Want to give some special thanks out to everybody. Want to thank my wife, Amanda. For years, she's been pushing me to do something like this, and it's only taken a long time to get through to me that this is something really cool that I think everybody will benefit from. So I want to thank her for that. Pops, you know the deal, Pops. I get it. I'm doing as you've asked, and I hope I make you proud. My work family at work, I work in IT. It's not the ideal gun and ammunition related zone, but those guys support me in everything I do. So I want to say thank you to all those guys. Also, I got to thank Nick DeVrados. He's helped me a lot the last couple of years, just with working together, learning about a lot of new stuff I didn't know about, and actually meeting tons of people. It's been honoring and humbling. And finally, I want to thank, the Red Eye family, all of you guys out there who have inspired me to keep doing stuff that I do like this. I want to thank you guys for that. And, I hope I can continue to provide you guys with more content. So, yeah, lots of people help make this happen. So from all of us here in the dungeon, come back and check us out. I think there's something really cool here we're going to be able to offer to everybody. We're going to try to upload as many videos as we can. Slowly but surely, we're getting the production quality up. We get some audio up there. Some better audio is working. But if you have suggestions, feel free to look at the links that are down in the description. There are ways to get a hold of us. And I don't care if you have a suggestion, you've got some criticism. We'd like to hear it. I read everything. So look at the comments down there, or the links in the description, and go ahead and click on them and go check us out. You can leave comments. I read them all, like I said. Click the subscribe button so you get notified when all these new videos come up. And, last but not least, give our videos a thumbs up. I mean, if you think they're good. If you don't think they're good, let us know. We'll do our best to improve. So, from all of us here in the dungeon, I want to say thank you for spending some time with me. I'm looking forward to some questions that I can answer for you guys next week. And we hope to see you guys again in the dungeon. Have a great day.